Alright, I just finished the dungeon solo, like, probably like maybe 20 minutes ago. I took like a little break, and I'm on the Gallahorn part. Where's the triumph shit for this? Uh, yeah, see, I have this. Um, I will say though, this is probably gonna be the hardest dungeon to solo flawless because of that Sparrow section, like off the top of my head, just quick comments. Um, and obviously I did buy the Bungie Anniversary Pack because again, everyone is like, "Oh my God, it's the best dungeon ever. It's better than all the other Shattered Throne dungeons. Better than everything. It's the best dungeon they've ever made." And I have mixed opinions. It's good. Don't get me wrong. It is again. It's a good piece of content. Just like how like I don't like Prophecy, but I think it's a good piece of content. It's like the same thing with the Grasp of Avarice. I'm not saying I hate it. It's actually pretty fun, and there's a lot of sections where I like smile and I'm like, oh, that's pretty funny. Like the little fallen shield thing where they kick the servitor into the shield to blow it up. That's pretty funny. Um, but yeah, just talking about it in general. Well, actually, before I even talk about it, first things first. If we're gonna do this dungeon, I'm assuming like you're gonna do a solo in a group. Just clear out your postmaster beforehand, because this needs to stop being a fucking thing. This is like I lost a lot of stuff in my postmaster, like not a lot, but just some weapon rolls I was trying to like, you know what I mean? Uh, I should have expected it because it took me like an hour, like I think 2 hours to finish it solo. I did it blind too, so no, like you know what I mean. I didn't know what I was doing. But yeah, like look at all these blues. Look how much vault space I had to save for the blues. The engrams partially my fault because I don't really decrypt engrams anymore because max level. Um, but yeah, overall I think the dungeon's fun, and if I were to rank it, I still prefer Shattered Throne because I just like Shattered Throne has a lot of cool lore. It was tied to Forsaken. Wish Ender, even though it sucks as a bow, when I first got it, I used that bow all the time because I thought it was really cool. So yeah, it still holds a special place in my heart, even though it's the first, because it's the first dungeon, and also fuck the, never mind. Anyways, also another cool thing though, I think Grasp of Avarice might replace the Throwaway in terms of catalyst farming, because I've noticed in the beginning encounter, right, when it teaches you what the fuck I don't even know what it's called. It's like some greed shit. It's like called greed. It's basically those engrams you pick up. There is they don't stop spawning in the beginning. It's literally the loot cave, so they don't stop spawning until you complete that encounter. So I think that might be better. Like if because again with the throwaway you have to there's two throwaways. There's one before Vorgith, one after Vorgith. But with and I mean you could argue because again the throwaway it's Shadow Thrall, so they're not really much of a threat. But with the loot cave one, there actually are the normal Thrall. There's a wizard and there is fucking I can't forget an acolyte. So I mean, you can argue that like which is better, but I think if you just want to level up Callus, I actually think the average thing is better because it's just right there as soon as you start. So keep that in mind. But yeah, just like specific encounters, they're all cool. I like how the music build up, and they're I think out of all the dungeons, they're the most fair in terms of boss rooms. Because the one thing I hate about Prophecy the most was like the first boss had a small arena where at any point he could knock you off the map, and because of the way the light moves and stuff, with the final boss room could be annoying because like oh it's that one room that's mostly light and really like and only like a couple pockets of dark, and now you have like two dark things at this thing, you know what I mean? Uh, and I do like even I kind of feel like I'm gonna call it greed. I don't know what it's called, but I feel like I feel like the greed thing's pretty much a rehash of the light the moat system from Prophecy, but it's a lot more fair because again you just kill something, it drops it, and then you can drain it in a crystal at any time. You don't have to have max stacks to drain it, and if you collect, I noticed every 10 stacks you collect, you get like all your abilities refreshed. So that's pretty cool too. Um, so yeah, I think the main mechanic, even though it's like a little bit like been there, done that, it's fair and it's cool. Um, again, I like the music. The fallen shield thing, I like that section a lot just because I heard the Skolas theme building up, and I was like, oh, that's really cool. The House of Wolves theme, or not the House of Wolves, but it's a Skolas theme. I was like, that's really cool. What else? Like that's pretty much it. It's I'm sure it's gonna be a lot shorter once I start like once since I know what I'm doing now and I've kind of figured out some of the loadouts I'm gonna use. Uh, but yeah, the major complaint I have is that the bosses have a lot of fucking health, like a lot of health. I don't know exactly how much, but I know like at some points when I wiped at the ogre, I did like maybe a third of his health or something, and it was like he had like 2 million. Like he like they both of them are like equivalent to like they might be equivalent to the prophecy final boss. Because I know for a fact the prophecy final boss has actually now I don't even know anymore because I'm like is it 4 million or 7 million? The point is they have millions in health. And I know right now it doesn't seem like a lot because I'm pretty sure. Because again, if you're in a three stack with like sleeper simulant, shit like that with particle deconstruction, I'm pretty sure you can just annihilate all these bosses. Or even with Galahorn, I'm pretty sure they're like a joke. But again, I'm a solo player, and when I do dungeons, I always try to future proof my loadouts, which means I try not to use artifact mods. Like in this case, I did use passive guard because again, I just want to complete it to see what it's up. But again, I'll run through this without passive guard. It did help in some situations where I'm like, yeah, I would definitely would have been dead without passive guard, but I think I can manage it because Lament intrinsic healing is really good, which is crazy too. Like it's I love this exotic, by the way. Like, this is one of my favorite exotics because this plus Lucent Blade does some crazy ass damage. And the funniest thing is Lament plus Lucent Blade is literally the same amount of damage the original Lament used to do, but like with like I think an extra 5%. So basically, Lucent Blade Lament is the current Lucent Blade Lament is equivalent to like Beyond Light Lament with a 5% damage buff. That's how much damage this thing uses shit out. That's how much even after it got nerfed, it still shits out damage even without Lucent Blade. It's crazy how good this thing was. And again, it's like for me, I was gonna like, oh, what if I use Fourth Horseman? But Fourth Horseman has to reload. And even though it has higher burst than Lament, Lament doesn't have to reload. You can just keep swinging, especially if you have a Lucent Blade on, because the increased charge rate. It's crazy good. Like I said, what I recommend for hunters if you're on the first boss, the ogre, Lament and Lucent Blade would be your priority. These are interchangeable. I kept the Slug Shotgun to deal with the knights because like it kills them in like 2 shots or 1 shot if you have recombination times 10. And the bow is completely optional. It's like I like to use it. You can probably get away with using a double special here. But yeah, like Lament, Lucent Blade, and then I use Top Tree, Tether with I keep hitting the wrong thing. Top Tree Tether with max mobility and Wormhusk Crown to basically this is my safety net, so I can regen and go invisible for a bit. Definitely, again, invisibility is really nice because it gives you some breathing room. You don't have to use invisibility. I actually got pretty far using just Nighthawk on the first boss, but again, I kept dying to like me being dumb, so I just wanted to go the safe route and use use invisibility. So that's why I did that. I keep fucking hold on. I keep because my controls on the side. These are the mods I was using. Arc resistance is really nice in the final boss room, but for the ogre in particular, I just put on because I don't have another good chest plate. Like I need to start doing that, like getting other things. Like I didn't want to use this chest plate because it fucked with my stats and gave me 100. But for the ogre boss room, you can definitely run just like void and concussive dampener. I ran concussive and melee resist because I was gonna get stomped by the boss at some point, and I didn't have a good other chest piece. Again, Lucent Blade, passive guard. That's pretty much what I did for the first and final boss. But yeah, again, I'll reiterate, they have way too much fucking help. Like Jesus Christ, like I can see in a three stack with particle deconstruction, or even like there's probably even a better way without using Lament for a solo player, probably. But it's like, damn, they have a lot of health. With Shattered Throne, because I keep saying it's my favorite dodge. Vorgith was super easy to kill. Like without like solo, and even I guess I can see because he's kind of a joke in a three stack. But then again, all the dungeons are a joke in a three stack because you just have so much damage and you have so many extra people with you. So I mean, you could argue either or. But like I said, Vorgith felt pretty fair as a solo player. Even the final boss, her entire gimmick is to get obliterated because you get the times 3 finite thought. So um, Zolmak too, he's not bad. Again, to solo him, it's not that bad. He has a bit of health. Like all the final bosses except for Duel and Karu have a lot of health, but it feels it's not to the point where it's like holy shit this takes too long. Like the Prophecy boss, uh, I've worked it out where like I'm switching between Wither Horde and then like Rocket and shit. So I don't know. That's like my only bad thing I can say. It's like they feel like they have a bit too much health, but again, that's just probably me just trying to get. I need to get better at it or something, whatever. Uh, Another thing too is the Sparrow section is a bitch. The Sparrow section was definitely a bitch. Um, I will say again, I don't have always on time, and because after I finished beating it, I did look it over because I had a feeling I knew what people were gonna do for the Sparrow section, which was obviously use always on time, which I thought was a pretty shitty thing, especially if it's a guide, because like people don't have always on time. Uh, my advice is there's a route I like to take that I was able to do this pretty confidently without like dying, you know, obviously 'cause to get to the next part. And off the top of my head, what I'd say is go to your right to get. You're gonna go to your right. You're gonna hit the first like timer extension. Then you go straight. Then you go straight, and then you go to the left. Once you hit the left, the second one, the second timer extension on the left, you go through, and then that's when you're in the section with the spider tank. I like to go through the middle, and you're gonna have to kind of get on your side to touch the time extension. But once you hit that, you keep going straight. Once you like reach the end of the tunnel, there's another time extension. Keep going straight. Go around the rock. Um, Hit the mines. I like to jump off my Sparrow and kill the guys on there because again, Sparrows are made out of paper, and I'm assuming Master Mode's going to even be worse. So after that, I go to the left, which is like on a metal sheet thing, and then I take the final man cannon. I take the one that's in the middle, not the one to the left, because the one to the left takes you through the eye, and I've actually overshot the final mine and died on that section. So I like to go through the middle, even though it's a little bit riskier, because it will literally you'll go through the mouth and you'll be right there. So I know that makes no sense, and I'll probably do a video on it. But that's my advice for the Sparrow section. It is doable without always on time. It is definitely doable because I did it. uh, but yeah, not a bad dungeon overall. I think it was pretty cool. Again, Bungie, delete blues, delete blues. This is ridiculous. This all came from the dungeon alone. This wasn't me not clearing my postmaster. Like Jesus Christ. I don't know if I already mentioned that this can come with a quick draw snapshot. So this is basically their beloved replacement. So I'm probably gonna get a roll for that. Although I heard that the dungeon currently isn't farmable, but next week it will be. So that's neat. Um, but yeah, the 30th anniversary pack, right? $25. Would I spend $25 on this dungeon? No. Would I spend $15 on this dungeon? No. Would I spend $10? No. I still am of the belief that I think it's not like I don't want to say scummy because they make money, right? It's a business. I'm not retarded, but I think it's very annoying that they went with that route where if you don't buy the deluxe Witch Queen edition, you're gonna have to buy the dungeons separately instead of them just being part of the season or part of the expansion. Um, because again, you can give me like let's use Grasp's Avarice as a dungeon, right? I think it's a well-made dungeon. Again, it's really hard for me to rank all the dungeons because I like them all. Even Prophecy, like I don't like I could say I like it the least, but it's still I still like Prophecy. I still do Prophecy even when I don't have to farm weapons in. I still do Prophecy. Um, but yeah, so they're all kind of like Shadow Throne's still above, but they all have their fun like strengths and weaknesses. That's why I kind of like they're all an even playing field. But again, let's say like Bungie, like okay, here's $15 for a dungeon, and it's like on the same quality as Avarice. I probably wouldn't buy it, and like because it's I don't know like this dungeon's good, but is it like $25 good? And I know it's like because oh well it has all the cosmetics, and there's also you can also have to like unlock some things to get the cosmetics. Like, there's some cosmetics that to unlock, you don't just get them, which is fine. But yeah, like I don't know. I don't know how much the dungeon made up that price tag, but like anything over 10, I wouldn't buy it, even if it's a good this dungeon's good. But I wouldn't spend more than $10 on it. Uh, I'm pretty sure the lore will be interesting because that crystal that has like all the skulls of people and the fallen on it that also like it speaks to you when you're near it. That's probably some interesting lore. Um, Again, I'm probably gonna get Galahorn eventually. Like I'm not in a rush to get Galahorn. I know the catalyst is supposedly tied to the dungeon in some way too, so we'll see how that is. But yeah, I didn't get any guns outside of the 1,000 yard stare. All I got was some armor, which is a thorn armor, which looks okay. Like it looks pretty cool, I guess. I don't like the boots though. I did not like the boots. Like I don't like the little point. I don't like the boots. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Nothing too crazy. probably kept repeating myself. I'm really fucking tired, I'll be honest, because I was taking breaks throughout the dungeon. Like, you know, I'd get stuck on a part, take a break, come back to it. On one run though, I didn't go to orbit because I was like, I'll just stay AFK here for a bit. But yeah, if you're on the fence about buying the dungeon, um, again, I don't want to sound like, because I have it now, so like I don't want to sound like a hypocrite, but I legitimately don't. I don't know, like, all right, here, I'll phrase it like this: if you're like me, and money's not an issue, right? You're just on the fence about supporting this kind of like monetization. Like that's why I'm on the fence about it. Because it's not like I can't afford it. It's just like I don't like how they're doing it. Uh, if you want to play another dungeon, a well-made dungeon, go ahead and buy the anniversary pack. Uh, if if you're still like if you're wondering about the quality of the dungeon and you like is this better, I would say it is fun. It is definitely fun. But in terms of like a tier list, I would personally rank it. I've only done it once though. I personally rank it Shadow Throne, Grasp, Heresy, and the Prophecy. They're all good, but the reason why, again, the main issue, especially with solo player, is that those bosses have a lot of health. And again, you could probably watch a guide, but if you just want to figure it out for yourself, it's gonna take maybe a bit of tinkering, like to figure out what works for you. But yeah, I'd still say I don't know. I don't feel like this dungeon was worth $25. And I know it's not exactly. Again, I know I've repeated myself, but I know it's not just the dungeon. But I feel like the dungeon is a lot of where the cost comes from. I have a feeling. Um, if it was $10, maybe even. But again, I'm still of the belief that it should just be a part of the Witch Queen expansion. It shouldn't be sold separately. But whatever. Who knows? Let's see what they do with it. Again, I am. This is a new point. I am still annoyed that there has. I know there's a sword in here, like a claymore, that's related to one of the Bungie games. So I'll address that later. But I'm still annoyed that every dungeon outside of Pit of Heresy and this one are just weapons that we've had, or weapons like reskinned weapons, or weapons that we get elsewhere. Shadow Throne, all the weapons come from the Dreaming City. Pit of Heresy, all the weapons come from the Altars of Sorrow, with the exception of Premonition, because that's exclusive to the dungeon. Fair enough. Prophecy, all the weapons came from Trials of the Nine. I know they weren't obtainable, and now they are. So, but I'm still saying like those are weapons that have been in the game before. Grasp, all those weapons have been in the game before, even if it's not in this game. Like I've had Ice Loon, I've had Thousand Yard Stare, I've had these weapons before. They don't excite me because like I've seen them, even in the perks I've seen them before. Like it's nice to have another quick draw snapshot gun, but you know whatever. The Claymore, again, the exception of that Claymore sword or whatever, fine. But still, I still find it annoying that a lot of the dungeons. Actually, no. Okay, fair enough. Armor, like the armor. This does have unique armor, but again, I'm more of a shooty kind of guy. I like guns more than armor. That armor doesn't look half bad. And now let's see if it shows up in collections, maybe. I'll give it a pass. Fine. Like maybe it doesn't apply too much to this dungeon, but it still annoys me at most of the dungeon. Hopefully, the other dungeons break that habit of having weapons that we've already seen before or something. Like I really hope it isn't. Um, where is it? Is it open world? It wouldn't be endgame, would it? Do they consider dungeons endgame now? Oh, they do. They consider the dungeons endgame. Interesting. Alright, let's look at this. Not bad. That's whatever. I mean, that looks kind of neat. A little bit much on the metallic side for my taste. I don't know. What's this look like? That's all right. I mean, the armor's but the armor's more subjective because again, at the end of the day, with transmog, you can turn on any of these into ornaments. It's all about the stats, really. So if you have like a good rolled thing, like there's no really, you know what I mean? Like I can just turn this into look like this. Um, I've been drawing on long enough. TLDR, it's a good dungeon. Is it the best dungeon ever? I think no. People are overhyping the shit out of the dungeon. I think it was very pleasant. And just like with Dares of Eternity, I was definitely cracking some smiles. I'm like, okay, someone had fun making this. And I think that's what, matters, is that they had fun, I had fun. Nice music, nice boss, a bit too much health, but overall pretty fun. The only frustrating part was the Sparrow section, but that can take time and practice. It doesn't feel like RNG. So yeah, I'll probably, again, I need to do it on my Warlock and Titan. I'll attempt Master Mode, and then eventually down the line I'll try to do Solo Flawless or something, but Again, I usually don't go out of my way to get that. I try to like understand the dungeon first and like have a sense of mastery, then go for the solo flawless, like I did with Pit of Heresy recently. Um, but yeah, what class should you bring into this dungeon? Honestly, it's whatever you're the most comfortable with. I always bring my hunter because I play the hunter the most, and I have more of an understanding of like the subclasses, like even like you know what I mean, like what the hunter can do well. Also, invisibility is a great safety net too, just so you can pause and kind of understand what's happening while you're in the middle of an encounter. But I'm pretty sure Titan's not gonna have a. I don't like with prophecy, like I could say, okay, hunters have the easiest time for the first boss if you're doing it solo because you can just chill off invisibility and with the horde. For
I
this
can't
dungeon,
believe
again, I
humans have
still
been
need to
running
do it.
themselves without
But off
leadership
the top of
since
my head, I don't know. Maybe it could be Titan or Warlock because they have burst damage supers that don't require
you ready to
accuracy.
show those
Like
cockeyed
I can
barbarians
definitely
what we're
see for the
wanted?
first boss using like Lament Heritage combo, like the one I have right now, my Hunter, but just having Falling Star, just like Falling Star into the boss or with uh you know fucking what is it? Warlock using Nova Bomb or Devour, that'd probably make it easier. I don't know about Well though, because with Lament you do move around the bosses quite a bit, and you might move them outside of the well. Because when I tethered them, I kind of moved them around. But yeah, it's not like I don't know if there's like a clear easier one. Just take whatever you're the most comfortable with. If you're like, if you want my recommendation, I guess bring a hunter for invisibility, so you can kind of like again like assess the situation when in the middle of a fight and see what you can do. But I don't think it's mandatory. Like any class can do it, I think. But yeah, thanks for listening to me ramble for like how long? Yeah, 20 minutes or 21 minutes. Yeah. All right. Thanks for watching. And yeah, I guess I'll go get Galahorn and see if it's worth the hype.